Mr. Dickerson.
Well, I have several thoughts and observations. And first and foremost, I still don't have a legitimate answer to my question. The committee met 8 times. 63 people, according to the report, testified. That's 63 people out of 47,000 potential voters, registered voters. Doesn't sound to me like there's a whole lot of interest in the general electorate to go ahead with the charter city. If there was, the meetings would have been overcrowded and overran with people wanting to get up there and voice their opinion. And we had less than 1% of the people who are registered to vote showed any interest in this subject over a 4-month period. That makes me believe it is not a high priority for the majority of the voters who reside within this city of Reading. And the poll that was taken by whoever it was taken by, you can criticize the methodology, but if you pull the poll off the internet, you can find that the questions are very broad and very, very general. And they ask the respondents what were the highest rated concerns that they have, and they listed 10. And first was jobs and the economy, and the very last was changing the city of Reading's form of government to become a charter city. Very, very low interest on the part of the people who did not respond to the committee and who did respond to the poll. So part of my job, I get told out here by several speakers each and every meeting, is to listen to the public. Well, I'm listening to the public to a great extent by their silence on this issue. I can't support going forward with this based on that information that came to me from a variety of sources. And probably the most important is that this city has so many other challenges before us, that we have a reduced staff. It's going to be reduced probably further in the days to come. And if we, as a council, decide to go forward with a charter, we are going to burden an already overburdened staff with a lot of work. I can't do that. What I can do is suggest this. If there are individuals, or groups, or organizations who think the salvation of the city of Reading lies with a charter city, then produce one. Go forward. Get the petitions necessary to put this on the ballot. Draft a charter and tell the people what you think a charter should look like. That gives the people an option to vote on something. So take on that challenge. If you think that's the solution, I cannot in good conscience, based on what we've learned through the process, support it. I have another quick comment. This is as good a time to do it as any. People want to talk a lot tonight. I guess I will too. The list that we got, somebody said it was just an by the way list that came through. A couple of things really concern me because I hear it repeatedly. And one of those that I hear repeatedly is that the city council and mayor are not responsive. Well, let me just go over a list I threw together out of just out of my mind without doing a lot of research about what this council and previous councils have done in response from requests by the public. Stillwater Business Park, was brought to us by the Chamber of Commerce and the EDC. The Sundial Bridge was brought to us by citizens. The library was brought forward at the request of citizens. The privatization committees that we've all been working with over the past few years, ideas that came out of the community. The REU Review Committee was put forward at the request of the citizens. The Radical 10 and 10 proposals by the Builders Exchange and the Chamber of Commerce. The Hilltop Drive improvements brought to us by the citizens. The impact fee studies brought to us by the Builders Exchange and the Chamber. One of the reasons we have this agenda tonight is the Charter Committee. Some folks in this room demanded a study for a charter. This council said, okay. You wanted to there were some discussions that night about whether or not the council should appoint the chairman. The speaker spoke up and said, no, we want to. Okay, you can do that. Some discussion about whether or not we should televise it. We televised it. Those are just a handful of examples of how this council and others are responsive to the community and have been. And I believe will continue to be responsive to the community. Now, because an individual or a few individuals come up on an issue and urge us to vote one way or another, and we don't, doesn't mean we're not responsive or not listening. It merely means we don't agree with you on that topic. Telling you no is a response. So we are being responsive. So I would argue that. The other thing here about lack of forms for citizens to obtain and provide public input. Well, let's talk about that just a little bit. We have the Planning Commission. 7 ordinary citizens appointed to do that job. The Board of Administrative Review, the Community Service Advisory Committee, the Library Advisory Committee, the Board of Directors for the Economic Development Corporation. We appoint folks to them. We always have 2 citizens on our Budget Review Committee each and every year that we do our budgets. And 2 times a month, we all meet right here in this room with many of you to take input. And then we have special committees. The REU Review Committee, citizens got involved in that. The Charter City, the outsourcing. We had private citizens involved in all of those. There is ample opportunity for people to get involved in the running of this city, and many of you sitting right in this room might do that. So I don't see that as a major drawback. Some people came to your committee meetings and said that. So I'm trying to give you a little bit of counter to that in my opinion. And transparency. I don't know what the city of Reading can do to be more transparent. We televise these meetings. We are online with these meetings. We get our agendas out plenty early enough for folks to study them ahead of time and come forward and make comments. We're all of us are available and have proven to be available time after time. So I am not one to say, yeah, you're right, we don't have any transparency. So those are just some things that kind of get under my saddle a little bit. And this undue influence by certain outside organizations like Turtle Bay. Nonsense. Turtle Bay has a lot of support. That's another thing that got brought to us, by the way, by the citizens of this community, is Turtle Bay. We had 4 independent museums that the citizens said, let's join them into one super museum and call it Turtle Bay. But we get criticized for supporting what the people wanted us to do. Okay, I've whined enough, but I'm not going to support going forward with this. I encourage those of you who think it should be done to take the alternative route and do it in that manner.